Well, we're going to have a busy morning. You know, there's a number of things that we're going to cover this morning, not the least of which is our first story. There's an article out there under Obamacare and from a New York Times report where Marcus Mers, the head of Minnesota's health insurance company, Preferred One, comes out and says what we all know to be the truth, and finally we actually hear it from the horse's mouth. I would say another body part, but this is radio. Here's what he says. Under Obamacare, people must be broken of their preference for choice. Wow. Under Obamacare, people must be broken of their preference for choice. I think this statement sums up the entire Obama administration, with the key operative word being broken. You see, like a dog being trained to heel and not to follow its natural instinct to go chase after a squirrel, you are being systematically indoctrinated to be compliant, quiet, to be calm and docile, to be submissive. There's another word that describes this state of being, and it's written and it's spelled like slavery. There's no denying that's the mantra. Our second topic will be this morning, 262 million citizens have been murdered by governments in the 20th century. It's an article out of Reason magazine, reason.com. 262 million citizens. We're not talking about warriors and wars. We're talking about moms and dads and kids, uncles and grandpas and grandmothers murdered by their governments during the 20th century. Is there any argument that could be made that that more strongly puts the blame on statist governments than this? And by the way, they weren't all totalitarian regimes. A number of them were, but not all. Our third topic is going to be FCC and the new net neutrality and how it is a monopoly in the making. If you think the phone company is a good thing, if you think that the monopolies that are held by telephone companies, television and internet, or television and cable companies that are held by electric companies in your marketplace, natural gas companies in your marketplace are a good thing, you might like net neutrality. But if you're sick and tired of governments being monopolies and pandering to their cronies and picking winners and losers, which of course you always pay for, so you're always the loser no matter what, then net neutrality is probably a good idea for you. Our fourth and final topic will be Operation American Spring. Today is the launch date. This is May 16th. And today is the launch date of American Spring. We're going to talk a little bit about American Spring and what we should and can expect. And the question, will it work? I believe that the concepts behind Operation American Spring will work. I'm not sure American Spring is the right vehicle because I think the people that were involved in it were the wrong people. But we're going to talk about it and take a look at it. All right, let's break into our first topic because this is a very disturbing statement. This is an article in Liberty Crier, and it's very interesting. It's actually from reason.com. That's where the article originally came from. And it starts out by saying, we have a new contender for the most telling ever Obamacare quote this morning. We have to break people away from the choice habit that everyone has. We have to break people away from the choice habit that everyone has. Wow. You know, the idea that it's government's place or right or even a desirable factor or feature of government to break you of anything is anathema. Completely and diametrically opposed to every aspect of every principle of every tenet that this nation has been built on. Government is not to break you of anything. Government is to stay out of your way and facilitate a peaceful coexistence. That's government's job. To make sure that you are protected while you go about doing your business to the best of your ability for your own best interest. That's government's job. Not to choose what your best interest is. What Mertz is saying here, and he's the head of the Minnesota Health Insurance Company, Preferred One. Well, what he's basically stating here is that this entire dog and pony show of Obamacare was intentionally designed to eliminate your ability to choose what's best for you. And as we know, when government comes out with the one-size-fits-all, it invariably fits none. And we're seeing the exact result of that right now. Obamacare is an absolute disaster. It's a disaster for a number of reasons, but not the least of which is it has taken from you your ability to, one, choose your health care, two, choose your doctor, choose the right plan for you, what best serves you. But more importantly, it's the only attempt by government that we have seen in 235 years to force you to do something to remain a citizen in good standing, to charge you to be a citizen in good standing, and penalize you if you're not. Limiting your choice of who you can choose for an insurance company and what parameters you can choose under the plan that you get. In other words, if you're 58 years old and you and your wife have seen your children leave the nest, and your wife is perhaps beyond childbearing years, assuming she's of similar age, I mean, why do you have to buy maternity care? You can't use it, even if you wanted to. Why must the single man buy maternity care he can never use? Even if he has a girlfriend which he gets pregnant, she's not covered under his plan. So what exactly is the benefit of that to that man? Why is he paying for something he cannot have? Why are tens of millions of Americans required to pay for rehabilitation care they don't need? If you don't drink and you don't take drugs, why must you buy something which you cannot use? Your automobile insurance company, which is the normal argument we hear, could not possibly force you to buy airplane insurance if you don't own an airplane. Can't force you to buy airplane insurance just because you own a car. Why? Because you don't own an airplane. And how can you take advantage of the insurance associated with said non-existent airplane? I mean, the absurdity is clear to everyone. Mertz goes on to actually stick a knife in his own eye, and apparently to continue on right into whatever wetware he's got behind that eye, because he says, we're all trying to break away from this fixation on open access and broad networks. Really? I mean, isn't the principle of capitalism, isn't the principles of a free market and free enterprise based on open access and broad access to networks? I mean, the idea of a monopoly is why you can only pick up the telephone and talk to one telephone company. Why do you think you are paying the same price for a telephone that you paid 12 years ago? But your cell phone bill has dropped considerably because there is choice in the marketplace. Why is it that you can go to any one of 3 to a dozen food stores that are all within the range of your travel from your home? And you are mailed coupons every day that say, here's an opportunity for you to save on ground beef. Because choice is a good thing. See, the problem is that statists don't want you to have choice. They want to make your choices for you. And that is always to their benefit and never in favor of yours. Anytime a statist determines what is in your best interest, you should run the other way, like said statist has the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague. You see, the insurance companies have lobbied the government to make this beneficial for them. The government loves this principle because they can gain access and control over you and all of the information associated with you. I mean, where else do you have to give up all of your information? I mean, if you, before Obamacare, went to an insurance company and said, I'd like to buy health insurance, they don't say, great, show us all your tax records for the past 5 or 10 or 25 years. Do they? And let's go in and take a look at your Social Security record and verify that you're actually who you say you are. No. Your insurance company says, hey, you pay the premium, we'll cover the problem. That's the whole premise of insurance. You're not required to submit your tax returns to go in and buy a gallon of milk or an automobile. The principle that government can decide what is in your best interest and make those decisions on your behalf for you, despite your protestations to the contrary, that smacks of something that has nothing to do with the America that I know. Under Obamacare, people must be broken of their preference for choice. The word slavery is the only word that comes to mind. slavery, as in the days of old. You have no choice. You cannot leave. You will do the work, or we'll punish you. And if you attempt to defend yourself, then we'll punish those around you who you care about in an effort to coerce your compliance. These are the thoughts and principles and ideas of statists and tyrants and murderers. Not people who have your best interest at heart. The truth is that we have completely, totally, and utterly lost any ability to have any say whatsoever in our future. Your destiny is out of your hands. How do we know that? Well, Valerie Jarrett came out yesterday and said, we have a commitment from John Boehner on amnesty this year. Really? Who is John Boehner? And who are the rest of the people in Congress? And I use the word people lightly. The right word for them is traitors. To make a decision. Look, when your duly elected power of attorney ceases to actually represent your interest, you have the right to break that contract. And you have the right to go before the court and say, excuse me, Judge, I never authorized this power of attorney representative to do these things on my behalf. And I'm going to show you the agreement we have. And in this agreement, nowhere does it state that this person has the authority to act against my best interest. John Boehner, Valerie Jarrett, Nancy Pelosi, and the Gang of Eight, and everybody else who makes up the 535 people up there who think that they dictate the rules to us, they've forgotten the basic principle of who represents who. As when and if the Republican Party betrays us on this immigration thing, as they're promising to do by August, they should be met with grand jury indictments. Grand jury indictments. We've had enough, America. Time's up. No more games. No more pleading. No more begging. No more asking you to, one, limit yourself to that which you knew you were limited to when you took the job, but have willfully and intentionally forgotten with malice aforethought. No more. Obamacare, the IRS, the EPA, massive land grabs in process, utterly destroying industry, jobs. The Federal Reserve. I mean, who appointed a private, who could possibly consider that appointing a private cartel of bankers and allowing them to keep all of their actions secret from us was in the best interest of the nation? Please. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to tackle our second topic. And the second topic this morning is going to be the 262 million people just in the 20th century alone, non-combatants killed by governments. Today, I would like for you to make sure that if you are in the Willow Springs area, that you attend on tonight at 5 o'clock, the spaghetti supper that's hosted by the Willow Springs Police and Fire Department as a benefit for Owen. Now, Owen is a young hometown kid here, and he's the son of Glenn Moore, a Willow Springs police resource officer. He has been diagnosed a month ago with LCH, Langerhans cell histiocytosis. And it's the family has got to travel all the way to St. Louis at least once a week for his medical care. And so we're asking for you to assist in his expenses and the cost to his families. He's a bright and handsome little fella. Spaghetti Supper is being hosted by the Willow Springs Police and Fire Department. It's going to be $5 a plate. It includes spaghetti, meatballs, vegetable, drink, bread, whatever. Desserts are being donated. If you can bring a dessert or donate one that can be raffled off at the silent auction later, all the more power to you. If you can donate a product, and you are a member of a business or a local business, or you have the wherewithal to make a personal donation, those can certainly be accepted there as well. Anything donated will be auctioned off at the silent auction. If you have questions and you'd like to know how you can get there or where it's being held and so forth, you can call City Hall in Willow Springs, Missouri, or you can call Chief Dunn or Chief Foster, and you can ask how else you might be able to assist and help the family. There's going to be live entertainment there featuring the Elmores, and I would be grateful and appreciative to anyone in our organization and our family of listeners that can participate. If you're local, please attend. If you're not, and you'd like to attend, and by the way, for the record, someone whose name will not be mentioned sent me $10 the other day in PayPal and said, buy 2 dinners for somebody. It was just a nice little thing. God bless you. You know who you are. And, folks, that's what this is supposed to be about, right? Not, assistance at the point of a gun being taken from you to be redistributed by someone else. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to America's Voice Now.